That's right. It's fucking right.
Superpower.
All right, we're live.
We're live?
We're live. And it's
Fucking Trash Boy Hours.
Trash
June
motherfucking
7th.
boys.
we're already made it to June.
Oh yeah,
That's nuts.
we made it.
We
We
made
got
it, boys.
we got Austin here.
Hello.
Hey, Daniels. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said your last name, but whatever.
It's okay.
Yeah, dogs.
Now everybody knows.
You abbreviated my first name and then said my last name.
I know. It's like an author.
Yeah.
Like you're someone a lot more important than you are. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to
No,
ban
it's
you.
okay. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm not important at all.
My bad.
That's not true. You're important enough to have been made a guest on our shows. So.
Yeah, you made it onto
Awesome.
the Trash Boy Hours. You're on to the next echelon of internet success.
I
Yeah.
feel overwhelming sense of pride being on the Trash Boy Hours right now.
We're glad to
yeah.
have you.
Oh,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm filled with a sense of pride to have you on our show.
Awesome.
So it's feelings mutual, friend.
So what do we got lined up for the opener?
Yeah, we're listening to a song called Losch Dan, which is a German synth pop song. I heard this just on YouTube. It was like auto recommended to me when I was listening to just like all kinds of synth pop shit, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty
What
good shit.
do you know anything about the meaning of like what does that mean?
No clue. I don't know anything. I don't have a single idea about what the word means. We could be listening to some real like
DN.
offensive shit. It could be saying something that is like abrasive to the ears of Germans, but fuck it, man. It sounds good, so that's all that
Let's
matters.
check it out.
This is the type of song that you would hear in like, you know, one of the German like one of like the like BDSM clubs
Yeah.
with like the leather and they're like slapping bare ass and shit.
Koraci bude mi san, istina pada na plan, tvoja scena traži spas. Ne usne šalju glas, sumorna noć gleda dan, ustajem sasvim
It's very dramatic.
Dude, yeah.
He's singing.
It's like really romantic.
Pokorne duše traže me sad, iskonske misli vode u raj, ponorane.
There's a lot of lyrics going on. A lot more than I expected from a German dance house song.
Koraci bude mi san, istina pada na plan, tvoja scena traži spas. Dan kada pošao si, u rat mrzim dan, kada nestao si, loš je dan kada pošao si, u rat mrzim dan kada nestao si, loš je dan.
A lot of different like sounds going on. It's pretty cool.
Kada pošao si, u rat mrzim dan, kada nestao si, loš je dan kada pošao si, u rat
This album's from 2015.
kada nestao si.
Interesting. I would have thought it was from like the 80s.
Dan kada pošao si,
Yeah, so in terms of like the origin of that about that song, all I know is it's German. I don't really know anything about the artist himself.
Right, reading about it, looks like the album came out in 2015. It's called "The Future Has Designed Us," and the title means "bad day." I'm trying to find more information now, but
Just from that and like hearing the song itself, it sounds very like it's trying to be like retro and like a throwback. And like there's like a lot of synth pop and synth music that came out of like the Northern Europeans, like the Netherlands and Germany and whatnot. So
I was super surprised to hear that it's from 2015.
Yeah, that surprised me too. I like the that contrast though between like the title of the song and the kind of mood that I got. You know, that it sort of put me in. It's very upbeat, like kind of a cure for a bad day.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It reminds me of like Footloose when like he goes to the place and like dances by himself and like he's just like, ugh, I'm having such a bad day. Ugh.
I feel it, man. I feel it. That's cool, man. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I listened to a little bit more from the album, and the tone of some of the other songs is not nearly as upbeat as that song is, or nearly as dancey. So yeah, that song stood out to me. But yeah, check that album out. It's pretty fucking cool, man. But yeah, that whole like dark wave, like synth pops kind of shit is coming back. I have a friend who's in a band called Tuxedo Gleam, and they do stuff that kind of reminds me of that. It's kind of a little different tempo, and it's also in English, so you can actually understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's pretty cool.
That's a big thing for me. Although a song like this, I wouldn't be so focused on the lyrics. I would be like just, so in the zone and just dancing like I was. But I'm still so curious as to what he is saying.
Yeah.
Just out of sheer curiosity. But so this artist is fairly new or
obscure. Yeah,
not much information on it.
Yeah, he could be like an older guy and like just being like recapturing his youth by releasing another album.
Yeah, there's like a Discogs link to it. Like you can buy the record. So I mean, someone is signed to a label and they're releasing these records, so it's probably just like synth pop revival shit, but it's like obscure enough. It's probably like on some Bandcamp somewhere and you could find it through there, but yeah, it's on Spotify, so that's where I listen to it. But
the actor David Hasselhoff was like really popular in Germany for his musical album for like something that sounded very similar. So like, and like I've also heard that like Germans don't have like a lot of like slang, so like any like comedy like is like really hard for them to like, even like if they have like good English, like hearing like English comedy or like English television shows, that it's like hard for them to understand like sarcasm and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
So it's like maybe like they import a lot of their entertainment and whatnot.
Yeah, the German mind is very analytical. It's it's like very like mechanical almost. Like if you read a lot of their philosophy, the philosophers talk about that. They talk about the German spirit and how they don't really have a lot of like standout art per se. Like there's I'm trying to think of any real, like besides the philosophy, besides like a lot of Western philosophy that comes from Germany. I'm trying to think about anything.
They're very dry.
Yeah.
My mom had a German friend. She would like, I mean, she's lived in America for a long time, but she wouldn't understand when people would just smile at her walking by or something like that. It's just like, what? Why are you smiling? Like,
I bet you they'd imagine like that person's like trying to engage them or something.
Yeah, like what are your intentions here?
Yeah.
Wait,
microaggression.
I'm fucking forgetting Wagner. Like, yeah, that's, I mean, in terms of like art, yeah, maybe
sure.
fucking kill me, dog. It's like that guy
Is
alone.
that a band?
No, but
No,
yeah, dude, I agree with that.
I actually am not completely sure who Wagner is, so you're gonna have to fill me.
Richard Wagner is a classical composer, and he did Flight of the Conchords, right? That's like we should have pulled out some fucking Wagner for this motherfucking shit, but that song it's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I thought that was a Flight of the Bumblebee.
It's
no, that's done.
Yeah, so that's that's probably his most recognizable song. But he like reappropriated a lot of like old German folklore into like contemporary opera. He revitalized opera, and he was considered to be pretty much the last great classical composer. He was around turn of the 20th century, late 19th century as well, just before the rise of the Third Reich. Yeah, so he was really, he pretty much revolutionized classical composition. He was a really interesting guy. He also wrote a lot. He was a radical political theorist as well.
See, that's something I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He's got some interesting writings. There's a lot of suppression of his writings because of how radical his belief was, but he was a political revolutionary, and he had a lot of ideas that were by today's standards would be considered crazy, but he's a very interesting guy, very interesting mind, and I feel pretty fucking stupid for forgetting him. But yeah, even that kind of stuff it's very romantic for the German spirit. It's definitely sort of different than anything they've made or produced. But proud to say that I'm of German heritage.
I as well.
Yeah. German boys.
You guys just repping Germany.
Yeah,
I got some German in me.
Yeah.
Okay.
German boys.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm the only non-German here, so I better.
We know what happens to non-Germans amongst Germans. So
German boy hours, man. Sorry. Yeah.
There's this like Northern European synth pop artist who's like popular in like the 90s and whatnot, and he has this song that's based on the video game Dota. Have you guys heard of that video game?
Yeah.
And there's a $1 Million Extreme skit where one of the characters, Charles, is like dancing around and he's like wearing like drag makeup and he's like dancing around a gay pride parade, kind of just like mocking them, like how like promiscuous they all are. And in that video, they have a song by this guy named Bass Hunter, and like the melody is the exact same. And there's also like I've heard many songs from Bass Hunter where he uses the exact same melody, and it's actually like kind of funny.
Wait, so that song that's actually a Bass Hunter song?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I know this pretty rave girl.
Yeah.
No.
So he just found one melody that worked, and he's like, all right,
Yeah.
This is that's actually quite clever. I didn't know that was an actual Bass Hunter song. I thought it was like a remix of it or something like that. But yeah, check out that fucking skit. I can't remember what the name of it is, but Charles Carroll looks like a fucking freak of nature. He's got like 5 layers of mascara and like just like this big like eyeliner.
And he's like he has like his like normal haircut and like his normal like hetero masculine clothing on, and then like so it looks like he was like literally just like put some makeup on and started like walking around in this thing, like so.
He's got a necklace, like a fake plastic necklace that says bitch. Or no, it's like it's biatch.
Yeah.
It's like it's a really funny skit. Yeah. And like girls are like grinding on him and like kissing him.
There's like
shit.
This one guy grinding on him. Like I think he was trying to like I was saying portray how like promiscuous like
right. Yeah, no, I like it. That's why I like their comedy. It's because
it's like cultural commentary.
Yeah. It's just in a clever and funny way. Well, that was a really cool song. I'm glad to have discovered your German heritage.
Yeah, I've rediscovered my German heritage through the Max Vincent song.
Right.
Nathaniel showed me an album. Like it was all just like music. There's no lyrics in it. It was by this guy Manuel Grosching.
Yeah.
Right. And that was a really good synth album. And he's German.
That was E2 E4.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That album is really cool too. It's like it's actually like a very simple melody to start. It's like this very like rhythmic pattern, and it's like really sweet and like just really light sounding, just like a lot of just like synth progression, and then it just kind of evolves and goes and just progresses on. It's like a 40-minute track, but it all feels like one song that blends into itself. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. It's E2 E4.
There's like he like did some like bass lines on guitar and stuff, and yeah, it gets like really crazy at times. Highly recommend.
That's interesting. I Like a lot of these artists are actually pretty new, like new to me. Well, I mean, admittedly haven't really like gone out and tried to discover, these on my own. I've listened to like some electronic music here and there, but this like German stuff is a little new for me. Generally, I'm digging it though.
Yeah, my really exposure to a lot of music is through like if somebody shows it to me or like YouTube. And like the actual Manuel Grosching album, the album art isn't very drawing, so like it's not very captivating. So I probably wouldn't have clicked it unless if like I don't know, maybe I was like just like had it actually play on my playlist, but Nathaniel showed it to me. And,
Yeah, I like that though. I like when something grabs your attention that way, especially like a cool album cover that is just so drawing.
Yeah, I was thinking about like all like the like entertainment and art I've been like absorbing recently, and like a lot of the stuff that I've really liked has been independent and like really like almost grassroots. Like I was really into like $1 Million Extreme for a long time, watching all this stuff. And like another reason why I really like him is because there's like so much content that it's like you can just get lost very easily.
Yeah.
And there's like another band called The Garden that I really liked, and they have like solo projects, so I was able to get the same reaction from that. And like I kind of came to the conclusion, like thinking about like even like Team Sesh and like Sesh Hall Waterboys were like just like independent like music and art in general is able to do like so much more in their own like ability, as well as like being able to release and create.
And one thing we actually wanted to talk about today was this growing movement that has been happening. I mean, we're pretty late into it now, but the SoundCloud movement, this version of rap that we talked about kind of on the last episode where we brought up Lil Pump, and I was just thinking about all the artists that I know of bands and like metal bands. Like there's this guitarist from the band Winds of Plague. He now goes under Morgoth Beats, and he's been working with like a bunch of like these underground artists that are just independent artists that put their stuff on SoundCloud, and they just get a bunch of plays and they blow up.
That's tight.
And he's made beats for Lil Xan.
No kidding.
Like I think he like produced his whole entire album, if I'm not mistaken. Which I heard that was the only good thing about the album.
I haven't heard any of Lil Xan's shit.
Yeah, I mean he's only got like one really big song that I know of. But anyway, these a lot of these artists, from bands like metal bands or hardcore bands, they're transitioning into this new genre essentially, or subgenre, I would say, of rap or hip hop, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, even like one of the pioneers, Suicide Boys. Yeah, Ruby Cherry was in like punk bands before they made the Suicide Boys. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like maybe in like that aspect, it's kind of like riding the wave, but it's also like I was saying, like with being able to have like so much content and like being able to release so much independently on stuff like SoundCloud and YouTube and whatnot, you have that ability to diversify and like have that exposure still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that releasing stuff independently and without having to worry about like getting like on a label or whatever, or like releasing a demo, for God's sakes, like this shit is just like so antiquated. It doesn't matter. There's like certain thresholds that you have to have access to mainstream appeal in order to actually get yourself there, but you're at the point now where if you can garner enough of a internet fan base that you don't really even need to concern yourself with appealing to record execs or whatever it is. Like I think the MDE example is a good parallel we can draw to these guys as well. Like MDE garnered such a huge like fan base online before. Like actually Sam first got a lot of
Sam
approval.
Hyde
Sam Hyde, yeah.
Because this is like a trio of comics.
Yeah, it's
right?
a comedy troupe. It's a comedy trio. It's Charles Carroll, Nick Rochefort, and Sam Hyde. And yeah, together those two kind of came into it later, but it started with Sam doing like vertical videos in his fucking mom's bathroom where he would just shit post in front of a camera. Mm-hmm. And he'd
like monologue.
Yeah, he would monologue, and a lot of these actually got posted on like 4chan, and people would like flame him thinking that he was being sincere, and like they realized that like he's like, you know, he's not being sincere. It's all ironic, but he kind of took this platform that he had, and they made a shit ton of really amazing comedy, a lot of really good art, and then they hit the mainstream by getting a show on Adult Swim, making World Peace. And they
were able to get enough funding to do a whole season, right?
To get a whole season, and they did so well. They had so much viewership in their first season that they purchased 100 episodes from them. Adult Swim did. They purchased another 100 episodes from them, so they were pretty much serialized as a TV show. They did extremely well. They had more than 1 million viewers on TV, which is like, to get 1 million viewers on every single episode of your season is like unheard of. Mm-hmm. And also to get people from the internet to go and watch shit on TV, it's unbelievable. It means your shit has to be amazing. Right. And their shit was amazing. Some of the skits are absolutely hilarious. Mm-hmm. The skit where Nick's a teacher and like he's in front of this class of kids that just have absolutely no respect for him, but he's like an ineffectual teacher himself. I mean, there's plenty of skits that I could list here, but
yeah, I want to place. You gotta like watch a lot of this because I feel like you would. It would be totally up your alley. Because a lot of it is it's comedy, but it's with an edge. Yeah, it's super dark. And
there's a lot of like social commentary.
Yeah, there's a lot of social commentary, but it's like
red pilling.
It's not even. It's jokes, but in such a unique, it's like told in such a unique way.
What is this again?
The comedy troupe
$1 Million
Extreme, but
I've never heard of it.
But it's because it's well, you got to really dig for it. I mean, it's a little if you're I guess it's like a cult following type thing, right? It's like we know because we follow it like on online, but Sam Hyde kind of he got notoriety, I guess, for that image that they had of him holding a gun, and they'd always use it for like school like
his like viewers for like troll shootings. News media and like say that Sam Hyde did it and whatnot, and so. When Nathaniel showed it to me, and like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I've seen a video by this guy like a long time ago." And then I really got into it.
Yeah, he did a lot of like meme stuff, like very early on, kind of.
Sam Hyde, is that the guy that would like get tagged in like terrorist shit?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think I'm familiar a little bit with this shit.
Yeah, they'd always use that image of him holding an assault rifle type thing.
He has like the blonde hair there and like
The thing about that video where that picture is from is that was a video where it was essentially in response to John Oliver or something like that, but throughout the whole thing he's like sort of like making hints, like he's like sort of like threatening Lena Dunham while like he's like shooting targets with like a fucking fully automatic submachine gun, and I mean,
so he was pretty edgy,
Yeah, there's like a darkness to what he's saying. It was perfect for Adult Swim. It's absolutely perfect for Adult Swim, and there's also like a very serious political edge to what he's saying, which is why his show got pulled because he couldn't keep his mouth shut on Twitter. He said some things that the company executives really just couldn't allow for them to have the show. So
there was like some like really complex drama behind like why exactly they got targeted to be like brought down, like just like some internal turmoil amongst like Adult Swim itself, and it
was like ultimately like a political reason.
Yeah,
right. It was very political.
It was extremely political.
Which is, a lot of what's been happening in media is this bias this kind of bias against. I mean, it happened recently with Roseanne, right? She got her show canceled for joking, about something.
She made a joke about this picture,
a vague ass joke,
and it was she made it a long time ago, and it's like a joke.
Well, people jumped on the racial aspect of it, but I mean,
I think the picture was with Obama as well. Yeah. So like she said something about like Muslims, and then they were looking like monkeys. So like it was like was it pegged towards Obama as well, and like in general, like I mean, like she could have just said like, oh, these people, like, they look silly, they dress silly. So, but she did take it like political and like racial, because I mean, like, why not? I mean, like, she's making a joke. It's an easy jab. She's a comedian.
She was on
it's Roseanne. It's shit she's always fucking done.
Oh yeah, that's what she's.
That's the epitome of her type of humor. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always been a shred of political context to her.
I'm just wondering, isn't it? Do you guys think it's a little harsh, a harsh reaction to like just straight up pull a show like? I mean, it seemed like within hours of her tweeting it out.
I think the big thing is because they're already walking on eggshells with her whole character's political outlook, having Trump specifically named in the show and things like that. So it's like, then for her to go and do this, personally, it's like, okay, like what are we allowing as a network? They're just watching their back preemptively.
What was it on ABC?
I think it was
That's
NBC.
NBC.
I thought it was ABC.
It might have been ABC.
Well, I mean, it goes without saying, man. It's like the political discourse, the cultural discourse is that if you even show that maybe you minorly support Donald Trump in any aspect, that you're a social pariah, which is like, it's pretty fucking ridiculous. And this is not, I mean, that's not within most circles, right? That's within entertainment, because entertainment is traditionally, and has been since its beginning, it has been massively controlled by leftists. I mean, it's like, you think about where these areas are centered in. They're centered in Hollywood, right? In California, or they're centered in fucking New York, right? And these places are strongholds of Democrats, right? So, I mean, it's there was a purge of these shows that displayed traditional family values in the 80s as well. Like, there's a bunch of these shows that showed country living as well, and they were sitcoms, or they were just dramas or whatever, and they were purged as well. I can't remember the name of this, but this was something that happened, and they were all pretty much booted off the network at the same time, simultaneously. And this was across the board. I wish I knew the name off the top of my head, but this happened, and this is something that's been going on since the cultural revolution has happened, and since things have come to the point where there is a very limited political discourse which is accepted. And I mean, Roseanne, she's said stupid shit on Twitter, but the problem is that her free speech is only protected in her right to say things. She's not protected to the extent that she is free from reprisal. Right. If someone, especially within these industries, if they want to come at her, if all the investors, right, if the board of the committee that's responsible for her show, it's not just her writing her show, the committee that's responsible for her getting the funds to pay all the actors, et cetera, they're like, whoa, this is too hot for us, we got to pull out. If the money goes, then the show goes, and that's just pretty much how it goes, right? So it's unfortunate. I disagree with it on a pretty fundamental level in terms of constitutional rights, but that's the way things are. I mean, if the money's not there, and this goes back to what we're talking about at the beginning of this, it's having an independent audience, or being an independent and not relying on a committee which decides what you can or cannot say, that allows you to be yourself, to say what you want to say.
Right.
And this is just the clear way forward. This is just absolutely the clear way forward, because it allows for the transmission of truth, for transparency, for you to actually, as an artist, be an artist and be yourself. On the internet, you're pretty much allowed to say whatever the hell you want, right? That's changing rapidly too. But for the time being, it's you can etch a little community for yourself. You can make a niche, and you can be successful. I mean, this is bringing it back to Sam Hyde. if they hadn't tried to expand out into Adult Swim, they hadn't tried to commercialize their product and put it on TV, they would be in a much better standing than they are now. Effectively, MD is dead. The fans would hate me to say that. They would hate for me to say that because the slogan is MDE never dies. But
yeah, ever since that, they've been all just kind of doing their own thing,
just recovering.
I think Sam Hyde still does Hyde Wars, right? Every now and then.
And he's like working on some stuff as well. I am a big MDE fan, and mainly because I'm on a monthly subscription to Hyde Wars as well. So that's my fingers crossed, hoping for something to come out soon.
Yeah, because that's another thing that we can talk about is the way that these artists are have learned to just monetize, and that's using whatever resources you have, like GoFundMe and what are some big ones? Patreon, that's another one. Essentially what they do is they put their art up, but they create these tiers where it's like
content tiers. Yeah,
content tiers. Where if you want to donate like $5, it'd be like $5 or less gets this much content,
right,
extra, and then it's like it goes up, exponentially, which I think that's a pretty fair system.
Yeah, it's pretty useful, especially for lots of budding artists. Like I've seen, I forget which artist, but they offer something like, if you donate $5, you get a sticker in the mail. $10, you get a CD. $15, you get, like, they'll fucking call you on the phone and thank you personally.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you drop 100, your name will go in the thanks in the album or some shit like that. Yeah. So there's definitely a use for that tier system.
Like from what I know about, like, the underground rap community, the Soundcloud community, what a lot of these young rappers are doing is like they gain a little bit of popularity, with their music, and then they help each other out by selling reposts. Which,
that's silly.
Yeah, it's just like straight up. They use their clout.
Yeah,
I've actually dealt with that as a glassblower.
Okay,
really?
You get like
so you find people
art
that
sharing.
are a little bit more. That have a little bit more of a following.
Yeah, it'll be like a glass of IG or just something along those lines where they like to share art, and they'll have like 100,000 followers or some shit, and they'll say like, yeah, pay $50 or whatever, and I'll shout you out. And they're educated on like the prices of Facebook promotion, like what it would cost to actually promote your post on Instagram or Facebook, and they'll competitively price themselves. And they'll even tell you that, like, yeah, look, it'll actually be cheaper if you let me do it, and you'll get more of a reach because the algorithms and all this bullshit.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I personally, I don't. There's kind of like an ethical argument there.
Well, I'd also think about something like that, like Instagram and Facebook, where like, they're not paying people. They're like Instagram and Facebook doesn't pay people directly, so they're getting all their money from people paying them to be on there. I'd almost view that as like a middleman that I wouldn't want to be involved with. That, like, I mean, if they invited like something that I did to be on there, I would like jump for that. I'd be like, yeah, sure, I don't mind. If I respect the outlet, but I don't think I'd pay for exposure. I was gonna bring up like something like Death Grips as well as like SoundCloud, because Death Grips has free streaming for all their music content, and then you can buy merch and you can go to their shows and support them directly while also getting like a massive payback. So it's like kind of like the tier things, but the base tier is free,
Right. Yeah, I think that's like what a lot of people are opting for these days. They know you can't sell the music. It needs to be readily accessible, or people are just gonna pass you by.
Yeah, no, I mean,
the main business is a merch business, and that's how you have to get by these days. Even the big, like, I went to a Weird Al show recently, and he's doing the same fucking shit, dude.
Without a doubt.
that's the business now.
Tell us about that, man. I wanna
that
hear
was
about
tight. That particular show was it wasn't like his normal shows where he gets all in costume and does all the parodies and the hits.
Okay.
He just did most of his originals, which he's got like a world-class band behind him. They actually recreate all these songs and shit. But yeah, they're just sitting up there, it's just them. And lots of people would maybe be disappointed in that. You know, you go to see a classic Weird Al show, and that's not what you were going to get from this. But as a real fan of his humor and, like I said, the band, it was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
They're really good. The set list they put together like spanned.
Well, he's
the
a
whole
really
fucking-
good composer.
He is, dude.
I mean,
He's like a really talented accordion player.
Like when you actually listen to the music,
Right.
you're just like, whoa. Some of these songs are just so geniusly composed.
Right.
Just
He also had a comedian open for him, which was nice.
Okay.
This guy named Emo Phillips. He was in the
Yeah,
movie
actually, like-
UHF. I don't know if you guys have seen that. But
oh yeah, but that's a Weird Al.
yeah, he's
movie.
just been involved with him for decades.
I knew some people that went and saw Dave Chappelle on his most recent tour, and he had like Nas open for him.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, just like
That's
having
interesting.
like comedy
Dude, yeah,
involved
yeah.
with music.
It seems to go hand in hand. I mean, you go to enjoy a nice night out at a theater, you know what I mean? When I think of the oldest form of entertainment, comedy pops up, you know, magicians, you have opera, but comedians, that was like one of the, you know, court jesters, motherfuckers making a fool of themselves. That's a really old role, you know, and it's coveted for sure.
Yeah.
So to add music to that, yeah, it goes hand in hand.
So I feel slightly hypocritical about what I was saying about exposure and paying for exposure because of a recent thing that I was kind of close to, which my friend's band got to open for this like really popular band, and in Sacramento at the Holy Diver, and to do that they were given 40 tickets, and if
the pay to play. Yeah.
and if they didn't sell all of them, they had to like pay for the rest. They ended up selling more than 40.
That's good. So they got paid.
Yeah. So
Who's the band?
My friend's band is Sloom,
Sloom,
which is
yeah,
a
they're
local Modesto
dope.
band. They're very cool. I can't wait to see what's going on with them, because Curtis Walls is very talented and very cool dude. They opened for The Garden, which is a band I brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool, like, they're from California. They're like a pop punk band, and they just did like a lot of touring. I saw them open for Mac DeMarco. So
Nice.
it has my indie boner, like just like massive when I get to experience them at all.
Yeah. When you saw Mac DeMarco, how was he live?
He was cool.
Were people respectful of
You know,
his like newer material?
yeah,
Did
I
he
think
play any of that newer material?
he played a mix of some stuff. He played. He even played some stuff from like his first album, which is called Rock and Roll Nightclub.
You played stuff from that, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And like from all over the place. And it was like a really big place. I saw him at Berkeley University, UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
And it was at the Greek Theater, and it's like this really big auditorium. So like, and I've seen like shows in like big halls and like auditoriums and like really small venues, and like I definitely prefer the small venues because it's like much more intimate.
Yeah.
Even like for the performer. But he was really good, and he was like really entertaining, and I really enjoyed it. And
That's cool.
he still like very much so engaged the crowd, and it was cool, very good.
I just asked because on my YouTube feed, this video came out where he was trying to perform. He was performing this the last track off his new album, and it's about I guess his dad recently passed away.
Yeah.
And he was like, he had like a lot of anger towards his dad and resentment because his dad hasn't always been there for him, and so in the song he's sort of coming to terms with, you know, the fact that even though he, you know, didn't really he wasn't really like really tight with his dad, he still, you know, just is gonna miss him, and and it was like a very like sentimental song, obviously. And then the crowd was just like being really loud and obnoxious.
When I saw them, I was like, I went with my girlfriend, and like behind us was this group of like they were like tourists, and like they kind of, it seemed like they like were in California, and then like they heard like Mac DeMarco was playing, and then they just wanted to come for like a good time. And so the Garden opened up, and like the Garden is like very amazing live. Like it's probably like the most highlighted part about them is their live performance. And then the next part was, the next band was this band called Homestuck, or not Homestuck, Home something. Homestuck is a lame comic online. And then
shout out Homestuck.
I might check them out, man.
Yeah. They're great.
You just plugged them.
They're very popular.
They're popular on Tumblr, aren't they?
They're popular everywhere. They're just popular on kind of like the back alleys of the internet, like kind of like the neat kind of like self-defeating like alt boy type of like crowd.
Shout out.
Anyway, so like the people behind us weren't like really appreciating them. They just wanted Mac DeMarco to come out. That song you're talking about is called, I believe it's called Moonlight on the River.
I think so, yeah.
And that's like a 7-minute like
something
ballad.
Like what he's saying, like watching you fade away. Actually, that's what that song is called.
I kind of didn't fuck with that song the first time I heard it. No, it was like, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm that guy. I'm that disrespectful like piece of shit. That's
well,
like,
see, that's the thing. I read into it a little bit more, and what the understanding I got is that he's known for having that personality. You know, of being that guy, being that spirit of just being, you know, young and stupid and doing crazy things just, you know, to draw attention from people. And, but then, you know, when he tries to be sincere, you know, which is what he's doing with that song, you know, it's obviously a touchy subject for him, and he wanted to express that through his music.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, like with the people behind me, and they were kind of just like looking for a good time because they know that Mac DeMarco is like going to be a good performance and whatnot, and they weren't really disrespectful during Mac. One of the things that Mac did do is like, you know, that one song as like making my way downtown walking, they played that song, his whole band played that song, but the only lyric they said was making my way downtown throughout the entire time. So it was like making my way downtown, making my way downtown, making my way downtown. It was actually like really cool. Yeah. But one of the thing, like, I feel like Mac DeMarco comes off like he's like definitely goofy, but he's also very sincere about like a lot of the stuff he puts out, like
kind of like a Childish Gambino.
Totally. And like on his second album too, he has a song called "Freaking Out the Neighborhood," where he talks about his dad as well, where his dad like was like involved with like drugs and like selling and like producing drugs, and he's talked about it then, and yeah, so. Clearly, those guys are a bunch of plebs and don't understand Mac DeMarco truly.
Yeah, but there's also the image that he has about his shit is just literally turn up.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there is something to be said about the fact that when you cultivate an audience, you kind of can't be pissed when they act the way that you kind of would expect them to act. I mean, I understand like if you have a musical bone in your body, like you can appreciate a dynamic range of sound. You don't have to. Nothing has to be like totally like aggressive and fast or like gets you moving and dancing. Like you can like, especially like at a show. I actually like when they play a slower song, especially like mid or halfway towards or towards the end of the set, because it actually gives you some time to rest. Especially if you've fucking been going hard the whole time, it gives you a little bit of like cool down time, and you actually like.
That's why earlier I thought that was funny. We were at the pool hall or whatever. And I played like Lamb of God, and then I followed it up immediately by like the Smiths.
Yeah,
it was just like such a jarring contrast of like it's super heavy with just like the most like serene sounding song.
I mean, that after just straight silence, of
course. just like empty.
Everyone just starts clapping.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of it was just a lot of like those the cue hitting the ball sound, and like nobody is. You know, like nobody was really engaging.
You got like a league going on quietly, and then fucking Randy Bly.
Yeah, exactly. Just comes in with I played 11th Hour, and it was just straight up chaos. Just the craziest breakdown on that song. But
I just think that you kind of like beggars can't be choosers when it comes to go to see a show. It's like you can have like a certain expectation about what you're getting yourself into. You can have like a hope for what they're gonna play or what they're not gonna play. But you kind of you are left with the experience that you have there, and I think it's important to like make the most of it. Don't be resentful that you didn't hear a song, or don't be like don't be pissed that they played a song that you hate or whatever. Just like take it for what it is. Try to enjoy yourself. And,
Yeah, it's ultimately, I feel like, what the goal should be. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like you're going for a show, you're going for an experience, something that takes you out of your the normalcy of your everyday life. Unless that's that's you're going to shows all the time, like, then it's I understand when people are like,
Yeah, then it becomes a soundtrack to your week.
Yeah.
Like, which show am I going to this week? Instead of actually like reading into that word, a show, what I mean? I'm going to a show.
Right.
Well, what are you going to see that they're going to show you? Do you even care? Like, take a moment and just, watch. Look at the artist and absorb what they're putting out there for you.
I've seen a lot of like live music, and like when I go, I just try to be respectful, and like especially like if I have like a negative thing to say, then I'll just like keep it to myself. The most recent concert I went to, I did heckle one of the opening bands because they were like a jam band, and they were cool and whatnot. But they sounded like the Grateful Dead, and I saw their van out front, and they had like a Grateful Dead sticker on it. So like after their first song, like even like I was like with my group of people, and like my girlfriend was like, oh, this band's boring. That's the first thing she said, like within like 30 seconds. And so I like go into the crowd, try to get people to dance, and then after their first song, I'm just like, the Grateful Dead rules. And the singer was like, thanks guys. And
that actually came off as sounding pretty depressing.
Yeah,
sucks.
I was like, yeah. No, I'm a dick.
Nah, dude, those guys are probably gonna give up making music because you dance them so hard, man.
No, man, you compared them to their favorite band.
They're used to hearing that shit. I guarantee it. I was in a band that sounded like exactly like Nirvana, and as much as you don't want to hear it, it solidifies what you already know you don't want to hear. So it's just like, bring it on. Let's move past it. Who else do we sound like? Get that out of the way. Like,
yeah, I think deep down inside, it's also kind of like an affirmation. It's like,
right, yeah.
It's just like, well,
at least we weren't the only ones who felt this way.
We kind of sound like Nirvana. We kind of sound like our favorit band.
Right. Yeah, true. They probably fucking love Grateful Dead.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just me being a shitlord for 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the history of like the precedent that was set like in like the 19th century or like earlier, like when they were doing like chamber music and they were doing like the first concerts, like you would go see like Mozart, or you wouldn't even see Mozart, you'd see some guy playing Mozart or whatever, like you'd see like a live band, like they would fucking go ballistic, man. Like that was like insane. Like if you had like the money or you had the social acumen to actually get yourself in one of these concert halls, like you were like a god. You're like a demigod. And now it's like we've kind of like that whole genre of music has been sort of like deified to an extent, or it's like oh, classical music is this high-minded intellectual thing. Like you hear it on NPR. It's like those guys were fucking bitches in the back of the fucking venue, dog. They would lift up that big like poofy skirt with like the wire netting underneath. They'd be like, yeah, let me get up in them fucking cheeks right now. Yeah, it's like they were. This was. It's totally different. It's totally different. Our perspective on it's totally different, but it's the same thing, man. It's like these people. We are dirty animals, and we like a rhythm. We like something that fucking riles us up and makes us like yeah. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The types of musicians that were playing this music too at that time, like even Mozart, like you mentioned, most of his famous music's put out before he was 21.
Right.
Somebody threw like money behind his musical fucking career. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah,
if it was forced on him. But yeah, just so other motherfuckers could get turned the fuck up. Some rich ass motherfuckers at that.
So who were the types that I know they were rich, but I mean, what, like politicians?
Yeah, it was all politicians or statesmen, people that were in that were part of the aristocracy.
Yeah.
A lot of these concert halls were put essentially in like the red district, like where the same places. This is also the same thing with drama. All the drama houses in England were on the other side of the river. They were on the other side of the Thames, where all of the whorehouses were. So like if you were going to turn up, you would go over to the other side of the water where like all the fucking streetwalkers are. You just be very careful you didn't get syphilis because there's no condoms. So it's like, I mean, and you'd go see like live music, or you'd go see a play. And so yeah, like these things, it's just escapism is what it is.
Straight up Pleasure Island.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Just let loose, baby. Just fucking let it all down. Like find your release. I think that's really the most important thing, because I feel like a lot of people would be a lot better off if they found ways to excise a lot of their anger with monotony and the mundane and shit. It's like find your way to do that, whether that be listening to music or watching movies or going to see a show, especially see live shows as well. I mean, that's just fucking get out there and fucking enjoy yourself.
All right, guys.
All right.
I think we gotta wrap this up. Trash Boy Hours.
Trash boy.
Trash boy. Trash boy.
Engage with us.
Engage.
Trash boy hours engaged.